what I'd like to go about, I just want to talk about just the party day. So I don't want to hear about anything else other than that day, okay? So all the stuff that's happened on different days, we will talk about, I promise, but not until after we've spoken about the party day. Exactly, perfect. So you're at the party, you said you didn't really like the party.
No, I hate it.
Why do you hate the party?
They hit me, they do all kind of stuff, and I'm a vegan.
Who's they?
What? Who's that?
You said they hit me. Who's they? Who hit you?
My dad, all the teachers, my dad's friends.
And where did they
And
hit
also
you?
the parents do it too. And they're really mean to me.
Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Rekah HaKodash, double honors to the apostles and elders, great millstone who rule well and taught me this truth. Peace, blessings, salutations, and mercies to the elect and the one-third remnant out there listening and doing this word with all faith and sincerity scattered amongst the nations and the four corners of the earth. To you I say shalom, Lord willing. This video is edifying. It's going to be sent around this clip of a longer video that you see on screen. And Baba Kashai excuse the music in the beginning that's kind of like drowning out what the child is saying. But if I'm not mistaken, I think it's because of copyright issues, right? So the algorithm won't pick up on what exactly is being said, right? Because he's saying some very graphic things, and it's very disturbing. All right, and Esau, he goes through great deals to keep things like this secret. And this young child is explaining pretty much what he experiences in these different satanic rituals in which he participates in. And, it's, to say the least, disturbing. Okay, when you watch the full interview, which is like, a couple hours long or something like that, they go into mutilation, child sacrifice, as he was going into being touched, right, being molested, eating, or cannibalism, okay, ritual sacrifice and abuse, pretty much a lot of satanic, demonic things in which he's experienced, right? And, the Lord's having this information come out now. And this is an old video, but now it's just now being really paid attention to and heard by the masses due to what's been taking place in the mainstream, right? With the whole Epstein files and whatnot, right? So people are starting to pay more attention to things like this, and these videos now are starting to go viral, right? But I remember watching this years ago, right? And, this devil Esau, to say the least, he's been exposed. He's been exposed for what he does in secret when he thinks nobody else is looking. All right, things in which he thought that would never be revealed. Okay, they're coming out. All right, and he usually tries to mask it in comedy or in his artistic expressions through like music and movies, but now it's just straight up unfiltered truth. Okay, that's why he's going through such hell, making such efforts to redact so much that's being released, because he knows that what's being put out there is very damning. But we told you that, this devil was wicked. All right. And that he was doing things which were so sinister they were just hard to believe. So like it. This is Malachi 1:3. And I hated Esau and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Right. So the Lord himself is saying that he hated Esau. Okay. And he's going to have him desolate. And he's going to have him beyond the point of recovery, because he's going to be exterminated for all the things in which he has done and all the sins in which he's committed. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith Yahweh Shah of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom Yahweh Shah have indignation forever. Right. Because this devil thinks, here it is. We at the end of his kingdom. We see this place deteriorating. And he's talking about another, what he would call industrial revolution. Right. Another peak in power. Because in his mind, he thinks he'll always be in power. He has the children of Israel deep in sin. The world is convinced he is the highest power. He has all the earth's resources and minerals. In his mind, it's like you. In his mind, he can't be stopped. This is just a minor setback for a major comeback in his mind. Yeah, the world is waking up. The children of Israel are returning to the power, but, he's going to find a way to continue on. But he's lying to himself. All right, this is just all out of pride, because the Lord said he's going to throw it down. That's why every move this devil tries to make, the Lord is right there to counter it. That's why one of his primary powers, right, weapons, was secrecy, where he is no longer operating in secrecy. He's no longer doing things with, under the public's nose without them knowing. Everybody knows now. Okay. Everybody knows there, it ain't no secret. Nobody's surprised no more. Ain't nobody saying, oh no, that's just a conspiracy theory, because all these so-called conspiracy theories have came true. All right. So he's been exposed and he's been made bare for being the devil. Okay. The wicked that the Bible speaks of. Right. This is Hebrews 12:16. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. Right. Since the very beginning, this nigga has been off. He's shown unfaithfulness and rebellion against the Most High power. Right. Everything in which he was told not to do, he did. Right. He was told not to grab wives from the seed of Canaan. The first thing he did was marry 2 of them. All right. Because his spirit in his core is adverse to the Most High. All right. For ye know how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected, for he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears, and since he couldn't take back what he gave away, it almost like hardened his heart to the point where he was like, well, fuck it, I'm going to go hard in it. You know, God already hates me, right? You know, you got to think of it like these Edomites think today, because that's their spirit, right? The way they operate today is the way they've always been operating. Okay. If they can't have it, nobody can. Okay. So that's the spirit in which he rocks in. All right. And that's why the Lord calls him, you know, the most profane, the man of sin. Okay, because he wasn't accepted in the sight of the Most High, right? He decided to turn all the way into Satan and practice and follow after the gods of the wicked, right? Because, you know, he understands spirituality. He just, you know, he's not tapped into it on the right-hand side, but, you know, he understands the left-hand side of things because he mastered it. You know, he sought it out carefully. His heart is deep, right? This is Wisdom of Solomon 12:4. Whom thou hatest for doing most odious works of witchcrafts and wicked sacrifices, right? He studied after the ways of the Canaanites, those who possessed the land before we did, right? The heathen in which the Lord had us rid the land of, right? Burn their altars and their cities down and everything in it because of the things in which they were doing. See, he went back and he studied these things and he perfected these things. Okay. And also those merciless murderers of children and devourers of men's flesh and feasts of blood with their priests out of the midst of their idolatrous crew and their parents and the parents that cure their own hands, souls destitute of help, right? And the gods in which he worships and sacrifices to, they require odious works. They require children's blood. They require cannibalism. They require sex magic, sex rituals, right? These things in which you would never, you know, you hear about and you just think there's no way, right? But these people do it. They torture children, okay? They feast off of the blood of the innocent, right? They perfected wickedness and evil and immorality, right? All in the name of Baal and Molech, right? And Rephaim, right? All these different ancient deities in which have always been known to be wicked and evil, well, they've put in the forefront as righteous. Everything has been turned upside down, right? Everything that was considered good is now considered evil because of, you know, the ways of this devil, right? This is Job 20:11. His bones are full of the sins of his youth, which shall lie down with him in the dust, right? The things in which he's always been committing, you know, what they say, what goes around comes around. So the things in which you've been committing since the beginning, they're going to come and hunt you, and they're going to come and be the witness against you in these latter days, right? When Yahushua comes back to judge, right, and to set the earth in its rightful state. Okay, when the case is brought against you, all the things in which you've done in your existence are going to come back. Okay, and the Lord's not going to have no mercy upon you because you had no mercy. Though wickedness be sweet in his mouth, though he hide it under his tongue, right? Because he likes to pretend, likes to play like he's not doing all these things, like he's the righteous, like, you know, everything is fine and dandy, right? Like he's the just, or like he's the just one. But in truth, he is the devil. Though he spare it and forsake it not, but keep it still within his mouth, right? Because at the end of the day, although he tries to save face, he's the one who's committing all these atrocities and crimes. But even though he likes to point the finger, he'll point the finger at Jake real quick. You know, for example, you had P. Diddy's trial and the things that happened with Bill Cosby, Michael Jackson, all these things he put on the forefront in the limelight. But here it is, Jeffrey Epstein, he's redacting names. He's trying to save face, right? Yet the meat in his bowels is turned. It is the gall of ash within him. So the same things in which you were feasted on, and which got you to the point that you are now, which is nothing but wickedness and abomination, right? And evils in which you practice in secret, right? Thinking that, you'll be able to profit for forever with these things, not understanding that the joy of a hypocrite is but for a moment, right? Understanding that your time was coming to an abrupt end. These things are gonna, come against you, and they're gonna be the reason for your detriment, right? For your downfall. Okay, so it's beautiful to see these things come back on you like they are, because you thought you got away with it. You thought you buried the hatch, but guess what? Those skeletons in the closet are coming back to hunt you. So with that, I give all praise and the glory to you, how about Shemel, Shah, Shemel, Kakudash, Wa, Abba, Babal, and DTA, DTN.